Complexity and perfection are the twin enemies of execution. My friends, do you know why we trade on the weekly chart? That is because of what you saw yesterday on the half-day chart, popping around, not completely the opposite today, but, you have these little anomalies, okay, with a few dollars, and then, of course, you have on the big chart not anywhere near the anomalies and big price movement. We don't trade for pennies. We trade for dollars or tens of dollars or hundreds of dollars. So we want you to practice trade to learn how to read the weekly chart along with how the 2-day and how the half-day are affecting it. But we are looking for what? Weekly vertical crossovers and riding the trend. That is what we do. And the big trend for us is the weekly chart. That is what we trade off of. And of course, we see the S&P 500 up 0.91% for the day. Now, you are correct. The smaller charts do eventually lead to changes in the big charts, and we do look for that. But of course, we've not breached the weekly trend line on the half day or the 2-day. We do see weakening here. We see where things popped up, and we have spinning tops here. We have a lot of volume, well, average volume, a lot compared to what we've seen on that 2-day chart lately. But you see a spinning top and then a doji forming, first day of this latest 2-day candle. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But as we look at this week, we saw the high last week of 501.65 and 503.50. So we are up for the week. We'll keep an eye on things, see which way they are going. Now, the NASDAQ 100 up a little more, 1.09%. And of course, last week it was 437.85. This week, 439.14 is the high. And again, spinning top and then a doji. And of course, we see where things bounced off that weekly trend line so far on the half day, up in the morning, a little further up in the afternoon. So again, things moving in the direction, like we say, all things being equal, market tends to move in the direction of the largest chart. Now, let's look at where we are on 20-year bonds. As we look at 20-year bonds, they were down strongly yesterday. We see today down in the morning, recovering a little bit in the afternoon, up 0.51%. But as we look at where the 2-day is, dipping lower, we can see that Heiken Ashi candlestick just half of the time where it's a 2-day candlestick and we're in the first day. We look at where we are on the weekly, continuing to move down. Stronger candle from last week, lower low. We will keep an eye on this volume. We're 3 days into a 5-day candle. We'll see where it goes. But after this topper here, with that higher than average volume and all that up movement that was killed down and then the roll back over, we of course would expect it to continue to move down with some anomalies in the middle, like today being a small up day and then reverting back to the mean. Now, what do we see with gold? Down just a little bit for the day, 0.07% after that big down day yesterday in gold. So again, well below the weekly trend line on the half day and the 2-day. And of course, that last 2-day candle, the Monday, Tuesday, above average volume. Not a lot of volume over the last couple of weeks. Like bonds, we saw things where they peaked up and hit the ceiling that we've talked about multiple times in gold, and then moving back over, going down. So we are short bonds, short gold, long the NASDAQ 100, long the S&P 500. Where are we with Bitcoin? Well, on the new VanEck chart, we've got a huge candle. Huge candles moving up on the 2-day. Huge candle on the weekly for this week. Up for the day alone, 4.73% on the Bitcoin ETF. We look at the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart, and we're looking at this because of the newness of HODL, the Bitcoin ETF. It doesn't have average volume yet. We've got to have 20 weeks before we can get an average volume reading. So we're using the 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart to help us see where average volume is this week. It's a little over halfway, which is what we would expect. You can see where we are on the 2-day as stair steps just rocket up. Bitcoin, we'll just continue to keep an eye on it. As we look at this, we saw things, down in Bitcoin yesterday, and then of course recovering today. I'm looking at the half-day chart here at the bottom of the screen, and of course things moving up quite strongly. And of course you can see how things are somewhat paralleling on the, and again, remember, we've got an ETF versus a 24-hour a day chart. So the ETF only moves during market hours, but of course it takes into account what's going on with the price of Bitcoin overall, because Bitcoin is traded 24 hours a day. So it's a little different, moves a little different, but again, when you look at the candles, they end up being about the same. There's a little difference. Doji here this week, beginning the 29th of January, wasn't a doji on this 24-hour a day chart, but we can see again where things did turn around after what? 2 weeks of prior down movement and then moving up strongly. So we'll continue to keep an eye on Bitcoin. We are long on it also. Hope that your practice trades are going well. We always love to hear from you. CW@chartingwealth.com. Thank you so much for being with us, my friends. Patreon members, thank you for your support always. Underwriting the cost of the channel. You appreciate what we do here. Got a lot of good stuff for you if you are a Patreon member. Not only the 3-part series, Options Made Simple, the Charting Wealth Way. First thing you get the minute you sign up of any of the 3 levels of support. Then, of course, every week, the weekly vertical crossovers, the 3-wave trades, and early access to charting cryptos, commodities, and currencies. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.